Again, my dear students, and let's take the second exercise. We have in the opposite figure the measure of the angle EOD equals 130 degree, and the measure of the angle EOA equals 70 degree, and the measure of the angle AOC equals 60 degree, and the ray OB ray bisected the angle COD. Prove that OE ray and OB ray on one straight line. If we need to prove that any two rays on one straight line, we have to prove that the sum of measures of angles lies on one side of this straight line equals 180. It means we have to prove that the sum of measures of these three angles equals 180, or the sum of measures of these two angles equals 180. Let's start our solution by write the given. What is the given that we have? What is the information that we have inside this question? We have measure angle EOD equals 130 degree, and the measure of the angle EOA equals 70 degree, and the measure of the angle AOC equals 60 degree, and OB ray bisects the angle COD. Required to prove what we need to prove? We need to prove that OE ray and OB ray on one straight line. The proof. If we need to write the proof in questions, we have to use the information that we have inside this question, or we just try to remember the fact that we studied before. What we have in this question, he gave me the sum of measures of angles, and if we look at this shape or this figure, we will see some angles around one point, and this angle they are called, yes, accumulative angles at a point, and we know the sum of measures of the accumulative angles at a point equals 360. It means we can say, since measure of angle EOA plus the measure of the angle AOC plus the measure of the angle COD plus the measure of the angle DOE equals 360. Why? You have to write why. Because they are accumulative angles at a point. Then we can say, therefore, the measure of the angle COD equals 360 minus and open brackets 70 degree plus 60 degree plus 130 degree. We will get 100 degree. And we have another information or another given. What is this given? Since OB ray bisects the angle COD, therefore the angle, the measure of the angle COB equals the measure of the angle BOD. Each one of them equals 50 degree. Okay, let's take these three angles and check. if their sum of measures equals 180 or not. If we said, therefore, the measure of the angle E is EOA plus the measure of the angle AOC plus the measure of the angle COB equals 70 degree plus 60 degree plus 50 degree. You will get, yes, 180 degree. Then the ray OE and the ray OB on one straight line. And that's what we need. Okay, in the next exercise, we found AB line segment and CD ray, they are parallel, and E belongs to CD ray, and measure of angle A equals 110 degree, and the measure of the angle C equals 55 degree, and DF ray bisects the angle ADE. Prove that DF ray parallel to BC ray. Like every question, we have to write the given, we have to write the information that we have. What is this information? AB line segment parallel to CD ray, E belongs to CD ray, measure of the angle A equals 110 degree, and the measure of the angle C equals 55 degree, and DF ray bisects the angle ADA. Required to prove. What we need to prove? We need to prove that DF ray parallel to BC ray. Let's start our proof. We have to use the information that we have. What is the information that we can use it? Let's start by AB line segment and CD ray, they are parallel. And if you look here, you will find AD. AD, it's called transversal. Transversal. If you remember, we talked before, if a line segment cuts two parallel line segments, then each two alternate angles are equal, each two corresponding angles are equal, each two interior angles on the same side of the transversal, they are supplementary. Then if we can say, since BA line segment parallel to CD ray and AD line segment, it's called transversal. Then the measure of angle A equal the measure of angle ADE. ADE. Why equals 110? Because they are alternate angles. We have another given. What is this given? DF. Don't forget, since DF ray bisects the angle ADE. Then the measure of the angle EDF equal the measure of the angle FDA, and each one equals 55 degree. if we need to know the relation between the angle ADF and the angle C respect to the sides CB and DF, we will see the angle C and the angle ADF, they are corresponding angles and they are equal. Then we can say measure angle C equals measure angle EDF equals 55 degree, and they are corresponding, and CD ray is a transversal. Then we can say CB line segment parallel to DF ray, and that's what we need.